Thank you, Secretary Durano, for your introduction. Mr. Secretary General, representatives of the UNWTO, Governor Garcia of Cebu, and I saw earlier coming in Governor Aumentado of Bohol, who will be your host a few days from now, Congressman Chato, Chairman of the House Committee on Tourism, and we have several congresspersons here in the table just behind the first three rows, members of the cabinet who are here with us, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, to all of you, welcome to the Philippines and welcome to the island of Cebu. As Secretary General has said, we meet in the midst of a global economic crisis that has been responsible for driving up the prices of food, fuel, and rice around the world. And every week brings a new chapter in the financial drama that is gripping the world. Some might say the recent chapters read like a horror novel. 3 weeks ago, the U.S. government approved a bailout worth $700 billion that many thought would calm the waters. Last week, those waters were roiling across the globe as Asian and European markets and governments scrambled to respond in kind. Then, markets around the world swung back again in a positive direction. Who knows where they will be at the end of this week and next week? One thing is sure, we must not lose sight of its impact on the ordinary people who bear the brunt of these fluctuations. We must not revert to complacency just because the markets swing to the positive. Costly commodity imports like oil and rice should be offset by commodity exports. Hard commodities like primary products and soft ones like leisure, ecology, and medical tourism. After all, again, as Secretary General has said, in the past, tourism has shown its strong resilience in the face of global problems. The financial crisis in Asia in 1997 came and went with barely a dent on the volume of tourist arrivals. Bali and the rest of ASEAN have suffered terrorist attacks, and most of ASEAN has endured the SARS scare. But through all this time, the numbers of inbound visitors to our region have continued to increase. It is good that the discussions will focus on how to weather the challenge and surge forward, but it is also good to look beyond the difficulties posed by the current global economic slowdown. It is good to address the major issues which will continue to influence the strategic directions of global tourism. Issues like climate change, Secretary General mentioned that, the role of women, and I must mention that because I'm a woman, and the relationship between tourism and poverty alleviation, as was elucidated by our Secretary of Tourism. On climate change, protecting the environment is one of our top priorities. An example of our efforts to preserve the Green Philippines is our support for the Coral Triangle Initiative. This is a program that seeks to protect the rich coral areas which abound in 6 countries in our region, most especially the Philippines. Preserving the Coral Triangle will maintain our reputation as the best diving destination in the world. It is also part of the responsibility of our 6 countries to future generations. On a broader scale, we have also begun the Green Philippines Plan. This is a blueprint for mapping our environment and economic policies that will allow for sustainable development. Sustainable growth or I could even say sustainable tourism, should not fall on the backs of the poor or erode our environment. Yes, there is a price to make the Green Philippines come to life, but the cost would be greater without the investment in our people and our environment. On the role of women, the tourism industry is a major creator of wholesome jobs for women. I understand the theme of last year's World Tourism Day was "Tourism opens doors to women." Indeed, product development like souvenir handicrafts and spa therapy, conservation efforts like mangrove protection and clean-up dives, and marketing and promotion are areas that lend themselves well to gender parity, or maybe even provide a bias in favor of women. On fighting poverty, we all know how much tourism is a major creator of jobs and livelihood. Throughout Asia, we have models of strategies that have successfully integrated poverty alleviation with the growth of tourism. For example, in the Philippines, we have a community-based tourism initiative called GREET, G-R-E-E-T, Grassroots Entrepreneurship in Eco-Tourism. With the help of financial and technical grants, GREET has benefited almost 4,000 households in 15 Philippine tourism destinations. Our concept is based on transforming attitudes, such that individuals who used to unwittingly damage the environment have successfully become the protectors of environmentally fragile sites. For instance, slash and burn farmers have become mountain and forest trail guides for hikers and wilderness trips. Boatmen who used to hunt whale sharks are now eco-guides for tourist interaction with those beautiful creatures. Let me give an example of Alan Amance, a 40-year-old college undergraduate and father of two who used to earn 100 pesos a day from driving a tricycle and fishing in our whale shark sanctuary in Donsol in central Philippines. Today, as a whale shark watching officer, he earns 1,000 pesos a day, 10 times more than his former income, and he is building his dream house. That is just one example of how tourism alleviates poverty. Global economic realities, as we have heard today, threaten the fight to reduce poverty worldwide, but we must stay hopeful. Let us keep our faith in tourism as a powerful instrument to alleviate poverty. And as you in this convention discuss how you will go about doing that, may every participant enjoy the natural wonders of our country and the natural warmth of our people. Once again, mabuhay, welcome, maraming salamat.